Welcome to the KISC My Health Radio show series on Building Fortunes Radio. KISC My Health is brought to you by the universally recognized Cranberry King, Captain Cran Man Stephen Lukawski. Over the past 30 years, Stephen has worked with North American dietary supplement companies in the nutraceutical industry. His efforts and connections generate ingredient sales through innovative delivery systems and effective marketing and brand management strategies. Today on KISC My Health, Stephen is joined by guest host Peter Mingils. Make sure you check out previous KISC My Health episodes at www.buildingfortunesradio.com or KISCMyHealth.com. Along with our marketing partners, we are here to help our customers improve their health, build their businesses, and make the world a better place. At KISC My Health, we know how much your health and your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell another friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now, on to our show with your hosts, Captain Cran Man and Peter Mingils. Take it away, Peter.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingils here. You are listening to the KISC My Health Radio show on the Building Fortunes Radio Network. We are here to talk with Stephen Lukawski. For those people unfamiliar with Stephen Lukawski, he's Captain Cran Man, the King of Cranberries. And I always like to start off by telling people a little bit about how KISC My Health got started. A long time ago, I decided that I wanted a microphone, a platform to be able to share with people that had something very interesting to say, and we started Building Fortunes Radio. So by the same domain name, buildingfortunesradio.com, got started, and that was back in 2012. I knew that I needed to have people other than me to have that microphone, so one of those people were Jim Turner. He was an attorney over in Washington, D.C., ran an organization called Citizens for Health. They were around since 1993, and Jim Turner was one of those great gentlemen, again, an attorney, but he was also one of the original Ralph Nader Raiders. So for those people who haven't heard that name for a while, Ralph Nader was those original, the guy that was talking about Pintos and, and stuff like consumer advocacy and seatbelts and a whole bunch of other things as well. So for consumer stuff, and we did a decade's worth of radio shows with Jim Turner, and they were excellent. They are still up on buildingfortunesradio.com. However, in January of 2022, we were talking about COVID and the other stuff that was going on, then all of a sudden Jim Turner passes away. And that left a hole in my heart and in my mentorship, because Jim would be the guy that you could ask those questions to. And not only would he give you the answer, he'd give you the history of the answer, and you'd learn a lot, because he was older and certainly more knowledgeable and well-connected, and it really left a hole in my heart. I begged the people over at Citizens to find me a replacement. They did. They found me James Gormley. And James Gormley was a publisher and a whole bunch of other great things. And I said, great. So we're doing a couple of radio shows starting off in January of 2024. And James and I were, getting a good feeling for each other's style and things like that. And then he said to me, can I bring on a guest? And I said, of course. I said, tell me about your guest. So, this way at least I can prepare. And he says, it's Stephen Lukawski. I'm like, gotta give me another clue. I don't know who Stephen Lukawski is, because I'm not in your area. Like you guys have your own little universe, and I don't know people in that universe. Tell me about Stephen Lukawski. Oh my God, he's Captain Cran Man. I'm like, I like this guy already. What the hell's Captain Cran Man? Is he driving a boat, or does he have a cape? He's got a cape. Captain Cran Man. This is the King of Cranberries. And I said, I know a little bit about cranberries, but I don't know a lot. And after that radio show, I knew a lot about cranberries. So much so, when he mentioned that he had a LinkedIn, I decided to join his LinkedIn. So this is, again, Stephen Lukawski's LinkedIn. And I've been following him for months and months and months, and seeing his posts, and he's a good guy and promoting really good people. And I'm liking Stephen Lukawski. He's forgotten who I am. By now, he's forgotten who I am. He's doing his own thing. I was just the guy spinning the disc, if you will, on the radio show while we were getting started. And I didn't have much interaction with him at all, actually any interaction besides maybe a comment on the LinkedIn. Well, then in August of 2024, I got the tragic phone call, or text rather, that James Gormley had passed away suddenly. So that was a shocker, because that was like on a Thursday, I think, and on a Friday we're doing a radio show. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, I should really help the family out and do the right thing and call people that he might have known. So I called Stephen Lukawski, who knew right away, because he was working with James Gormley at the time. And we both kind of like in shock said, we know we have to do some kind of a radio show for memorializing James Gormley. And I said something in the middle of that about writing a book. KISC, K-I-S-C, is our Keep It Simple Circle training. And Stephen, who is like a creative guy and a great marketer, says, here's what we're going to do, Peter. I'm like, okay. He says, we're going to do a series of interviews of people that I know. We're going to call it KISC My Health. And KISC for you, Peter, might stand for Keep It Simple Circle, but KISC for me is going to stand for Key Influencers, Super Champions. And I said, okay, I'm all in. So I bought the domain name, KISCMyHealth.com, and then we started doing radio shows, and we've done a lot since then. I mean, there's a lot of radio shows. I'm going to playfully boast, I think we've probably done more constructive personal interviews than anybody else on the planet in this industry with Planet Cranberry now, and also Stephen Lukawski. So I'm really pleased to be able to say thanks for our corporate sponsors, thanks for everybody who's been a previous host, thanks for all our active and passive listeners, and really thank you to Stephen Lukawski, for whom this would have never happened if Stephen didn't decide that, you know what, he wants to use his influence and his ability to connect people together on this wonderful KISC My Health radio show. So, Stephen, thank you. And moving into the next realm with Planet Cranberry, can't wait. So we are here talking about whatever you want to talk about with a special guest. Stephen, take it away.
Thank you, Peter, and hello to my amazing listeners out there. Welcome to KISC My Health Radio, where today is a new day and an opportunity to make a difference in this world, and it all starts by being kind to others. Today it's going to be a fantastic interview. As you know, this radio show is all about giving back. It's giving back time. It's giving back leadership opportunities for those who've been in our industry to come on air and to talk about how they were able to succeed, both personally and professionally, in their lives as they climb that personal and corporate ladder to the success story. But before I begin, I want to, we have a very special guest, and I want to take a moment to speak directly to you about the heart and the purpose and the deeper meaning behind this radio show. The platform was created with a clear mission: to educate, to inspire, and to elevate awareness around health, wellness, and the natural product industry that continues to transform lives around the world. Within that mission, we are proud to welcome and highlight our corporate sponsors, Planet Cranberry, and also Pure Organic Wellness, the organic sweetener company. Now, why did Planet Cranberry decide to become a sponsor on KISC My Health Radio? Well, Planet Cranberry is more than a name. It's a purpose-driven vision. Its mission is rooted in education, awareness, and a deep respect for the natural power of the cranberry plant. It exists to help people understand how nature provides powerful science-supported tools that could support everyday health and long-term wellness. From urinary tract health to antioxidant protection and overall vitality, the cranberry has been long recognized for its unique and remarkable properties. Planet Cranberry exists to bring the knowledge forward in a way that's accessible, meaningful, and grounded in both tradition and modern research. It bridges the gap between nature and science, helping people make more informed choices about their health. And this is exactly why Planet Cranberry is aligned with the KISC My Health radio program, because this show is just not about conversation. It's about connection. It's about bringing together voices, stories, and organizations that share a common purpose: to empower people to take the ownership of their health, to understand the options available to them, and to reconnect with the natural foundations of wellness. Planet Cranberry supports the vision by helping to educate and inspire individuals to look deeper into what nature already provides. But beyond education and awareness, this show carries something even more profound. It's about honoring the journey of those who came before us, the Michael McGuffins, the James Gormleys, the Stephen Fosters, the pioneers, the visionaries, and the quiet leaders who are no longer with us today, but who have passed the torch into our hands. We stand on the shoulders of giants, men and women who built foundations not for recognition, but for purpose. Many of them never saw the full fruit of their labor, yet they planted seeds of hope, integrity, and the possibility that continue to grow in today. Their legacy is not just in what they achieved, but what they inspired us to become. This show is about commitment, showing up when it's easy, and especially when it is not. It's all about true grit, the kind that carries you through uncertainty, setbacks, and seasons of doubt. It's about leadership, not titles or positions, but the daily choice to serve, to guide, and to lift others higher than yourself. It's about dedication and sacrifice, the unseen hours, the personal costs, the moments when no one is watching, yet you choose to keep going anyway. It's about accomplishments, yes, but also the setbacks, the challenges, and the failures that shape us, refine us, and ultimately strengthen our character. Because failure is not the end of the story, it's part of the journey forward. And how we respond to those moments defines who we are becoming. At its core, this show is about values. It's about ethics, integrity, and doing what's right, even when it's not easy or popular. It's about building something that lasts, not just in business, but in character, influence, in the lives we touch along the way. We are here not only to share information, but to carry forward a legacy of excellence, to be role models for the younger generations watching and listening, to show them that success is not accidental, it's intentional. It's built through discipline, humility, perseverance, and heart. Our responsibility is to honor those who came before us by continuing their work with even greater purpose. And in doing so, we become the example of those who will follow in our footsteps. On this show, we just don't talk about products or trends. We share stories of struggle and success, stories of learning, growth, and breakthrough moments, stories that remind us that success is possible when purpose meets persistence and when integrity leads the way. Our goal is to bring you closer to those voices, to help you learn from their experiences, and to inspire you to take ownership of your own health journey and your own potential. Because when we understand where others have come from, we begin to see more clearly where we too can go, and more importantly, who we can become. So, as we step into today's conversation with our next guest, I encourage you to listen. And with that spirit of gratitude, respect, and inspiration for those who paved the way before us, and with those who follow us after, let's welcome our guest for today, Julie Dennis. Welcome to the show on KISC My Health Radio.
Woo-hoo. After that introduction, there we go, Julie.
I'm telling you, gentlemen, boy, I should put a superhero cape on after all that. And I'm so inspired. First off, gentlemen, thank you so much for the invitation. My honor, my pleasure to be here. I love that introduction. Talking about compassion, kindness, mission-driven. I mean, this is what we're doing here in this natural products industry. So I am thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm honored to be, here standing in front of you to be able to interview your life story, your legacy, all right, and your inspirational motivation and messages that you're going to give our listening audience. I feel like, as Peter and I put this first show together with Karen Howard, and that was almost 2 years ago, all right, because we're coming up to our 2-year anniversary at the end of August, right? I didn't know how this show would transform to where it is today. And I couldn't have done it without the sponsorships of Heather Weiner and the Whole Foods Magazine team, right, over there, and the Charlie's Angels. Thank you so much for every moment of your help that you've given us. They do the LinkedIn post for every show. They do it with gratitude and hearts. They don't ask for anything in return. So for companies who are not doing business with Whole Foods Magazine, think twice, because this is a person that goes above and beyond the call of duty in her role.
Indeed.
And I hope she's having a great MBJ summit.
She's incredible. And Whole Foods Magazine I've been reading since, I don't know, maybe I was a 20-year-old about 40 years ago. It is my go-to for industry news, health news, what's happening with the FDA, all of it. So it is certainly Whole Foods Magazine, my go-to for information for this natural products industry.
She's her father would be so proud of her. I know he is already looking from the heavens above, but, she's taken that company to another level of success.
Right.
And I know she's had great mentors along the way, but this show would not be where it is today without their support, along with her other past sponsors and our current sponsors. But this show's evolved. This show was really all about, at the time, was giving leaders a platform to speak about their journey. But now their voices are inspirational. This, like Peter had mentioned, this show is all over the world, through the links, and our voices are heard, right? And they are heard not just today, but they are heard when anybody wants to listen to the show again and again. And this includes your family, Julie. This includes, whether it's your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, your children, right? This is your voice that you leave behind, that they have a piece of, and this is something special for them to understand how you got to where you are today. So I am so blessed to have you on the show. Thank you. Now for those, before we get into the deep dive of Julie's career, Peter, let's have a break and a commercial break with Pure Organics, the organic sweetener company in the natural product industry.
Perfect.
KISC My Health Radio welcomes our corporate sponsor, Pure Organic. What if reducing sugar didn't mean giving up the foods and drinks you love? That's the philosophy behind Pure, spelled P-Y-U-R-E, at pureorganic.com. Pure believes that if healthier food doesn't taste great, people simply won't stick with it. So they've created a full line of plant-based, organic, and organically sweetened sugar alternatives designed to deliver the sweetness you love without the sugar overload. From granulated sweeteners and liquid syrups to their powerful single-ingredient stevia extract, Pure makes it easy to sweeten your coffee, upgrade your recipes, and enjoy better choices without sacrificing flavor. And Pure is not just helping consumers at home. They also work behind the scenes with food, beverage, and supplement companies nationwide, helping brands reduce sugar while maintaining the taste, texture, and experience customers expect. With decades of expertise in food science and formulation, Pure is helping reshape the future of sweetness. Want to learn more about Pure? See their full line of products, discover their story, and explore what makes them different at pureorganic.com. That's P-Y-U-R-E organic.com. Visit pureorganic.com today and taste the future of sweetening. At KISC My Health Radio, we want to thank Pure for being our corporate sponsor. Now back to our show. Take it away, Peter.
All right, we're back. Stephen, take it away.
Thank you. And we are here today with legendary icon leader Julie Dennis. And for those who do not know who Julie Dennis is, I am going to give you a little bit of her bio, and so you can understand why we are so honored with her presence today. Julie is a strategic communications professional educator and respected voice in the natural product industry. With more than 3 decades of experience spanning herbal medicine, dietary supplements, botanical science, regulatory communications, and brand strategy. As the founder of the Natural Community Review, Julie has helped natural product brands and raw material suppliers translate complex science into engaging, consumer-friendly content while maintaining the DSHEA-compliant messaging. Her work bridges the gap between research, education, marketing, and regulatory responsibility, helping companies communicate the value of their products with clarity, credibility, and consumer trust. Throughout her career, Julie has held leadership roles in digital marketing, editorial, education, and communications, including serving as digital media coordinator for Women in Nutraceuticals, yay, and herbal research editor for the American Botanical Council, yay for them too. All right, I love Mark Blumenthal and the group over there. She is also a board member of the Berkeley Herbal Center, where she supports herbal education and community outreach. She's a graduate of the American School of Herbalism with teachers Roy Upton, Christopher Hobbs, and Dr. Michael Tierra. Julie has spent her career championing evidence-informed herbal medicine, ingredient quality, ethical marketing, and consumer education. She's passionate about elevating the conversation around natural health by making botanical science accessible, practical, and trustworthy. Whether she's interviewing industry leaders, developing educational content, or speaking on podcasts like we are today, Julie brings a unique perspective that combines scientific integrity, storytelling, and a lifelong commitment to helping people make informed decisions about their health. And that's why you are here today on KISC My Health Radio, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you. Boy, I did all that. What a journey, Stephen, Peter. I can tell you this. As you know, life is a journey, isn't it? I'm personally very, very grateful that I ended up in this natural products industry. It certainly wasn't a mistake, that's for sure. I have spent, right? It's so rewarding. My reward by doing this work is by turning people on to a healthy lifestyle. I started this career as a young woman, now in my 60s. It was at the age of 15. I'm standing in a health food store, working in the health food store, also working at Burger King at the same time. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I knew from a very young age, while working in that health food store at the age of 15, that I was going to be doing this for the rest of my life. I really set out intentionally to educate people on the benefits of a healthy lifestyle with a particular focus on incorporating botanicals. I felt at the age of 15, I'm standing there at the register in North Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, teenager on a work permit, still in high school, and I was reading this little pamphlet on golden seal, and it blew my mind. It totally blew my mind. I'm reading about the traditional usages, fascinating. I was reading about the science, compelling, very compelling story. I also was looking at this photograph of golden seal, thinking this little plant that I would pass by and not even look twice at that young age, this little plant does all that. It has all that science. It's used for all these health-supporting purposes. It has all this deep tradition behind it, indigenous traditional medicine. I said, this is it. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking about herbs for the rest of my life. If people incorporated herbs, I thought then, and I think now, we're going to be healthier individuals. Our families, who are also going to be using botanicals, will be healthier. Our communities will be healthier. We'll be happier. We'll treat people with greater kindness and compassion if we're healthier. And not only are we personally affected by a healthy lifestyle, obviously, but I also recognize that the environment is also impacted by what we consume. So if we consume more botanicals, and perhaps, although I am grateful they're there, pharmaceuticals, when needed, they're very heroic. I use pharmaceuticals myself when needed. But if we use less of them, then let's be honest, what we excrete out of our bodies would be healthier for the environment as well. If you're following along that, if we are excreting from our bodies natural substances, it's just easier for the environment to process those than if we are excreting pharmaceuticals and plastics, microplastics. So I just made it my mission as a young girl to do this, and I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you for sharing that with the listening audience, Julie. I look at it sometimes it's a calling, that we have, and for a greater purpose in life. And sometimes that pathway is given to us. It's right in front of us, but it's like leading a horse to water. You got to make it drink, right? And at the end, you got to follow your heart. You got to follow what you have, where your passion is going, and you did that. But I think also your greater purpose, when I listen to your passion right now, is really the gift of serving others. Right? The gift of wanting to help others achieve a healthier lifestyle so they can live longer. Yes. And be able to have a quality life beyond where they are today. And
that's so true.
And you're what I look at us as, in a sense, one of the angels that come down, all right, and are given a mission, like you just said, and that mission really is for us to be the guiding light, to be that North Star, to come on stage in the natural product industry, and it's about the value, not the numbers, the person who you are. I would say the integrity, the ethics, the value system that you bring to the natural product industry. This is what illuminates, your positioning and separates yourself from others. And that's what we need more of. I love the passion on botanicals. I love Golden Seal. I was involved in Golden Seal right from the late 1990s, or I would say 1995. When my friends were growers of Golden Seal in Echinacea.
Wow.
Right? And I know that Golden Seal, we had a tough time standardizing What was it? The active in Golden Seal at that time.
Oh boy, it's not berberine, although it contains berberine.
Berberine, yes, berberine. Okay. Now berberine sells on its own.
True, I take it.
Yeah, but
I do take a blend.
Yeah, but you see, what I realized learning as a student, and I encourage everybody to follow Julie's pathway. Julie is a student of learning. She never stops. She's always around other people, learning what their skill set and what they bring to the table. But what I learned about these botanicals, particularly berberine, that they have, it's not how much you take, it's what you absorb. A lot of these botanicals have a short half-life, right? They don't get past the stomach, some of them, right? Sure. And not all ingredients, but some ingredients don't get past the stomach and they get degraded by the stomach acids. So I've been so involved in being educated about botanicals and delivery systems. And so I'm fascinated, really about, yes, here are the botanicals that will help us, but how much do we actually absorb in our system when we take those pills?
That is so true. Digestion is key to life, obviously. We have to be digesting our foods, breaking them down. And if we're taking something and not digesting it, not absorbing it, why are we taking it? And I'm telling you, you mentioned a lifetime of learning. We keep learning more and more every day. So as, for example, traditionally, golden seal would be used, the root would be used. The whole plant would be incorporated into a tea. It would be drunk as a tea, very easy to digest at that point. And then when you start to standardize and pull out particular chemicals, that's when we need to know, how does this particular chemical in this plant, how is it absorbed? Is it being absorbed? We have to really start to finesse your botanical when you start to break it down like that. I remember St. John's wort, for example. You may recall this. It was originally St. John's wort. It's been used since the days of Dioscorides, one of the original, as it were, founders of modern medicine, or founders of conventional medicine. But way back in the day, Dioscorides used to use golden seal, St. John's wort to support an uplifted mood. We love that. We love to uplift our mood. So when the scientists and the industry discovered St. John's wort, they thought, what's the most potent chemical in this plant, to uplift the mood? Okay, let's standardize it to hypericin. And everybody started standardizing to hypericin content. And then a couple of years later, it's not hypericin, it's hyperforin. Let's standardize these products to hyperforin. Everybody had to change their labels, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm a fan. I love the standardized botanicals. I use berberine. I use a berberine capsule from Rainbow Light, and it contains berberine from a variety of different plants. But I also love a full spectrum approach to botanicals where you get that standardized level that the research is showing is beneficial, but you also get the remainder of the plant that's traditionally used. So you get that full spectrum of chemicals. And I think that's one way to bypass that challenge of digestibility.
Yeah, your words are like butter on toast for me because, I'm listening to standardization of the actives, but I'm also listening to full spectrum. It's like science and nature synergistically working together.
Yes.
Isn't that exciting? We're giving the consumer the best of both worlds.
Stephen, it's the best. You're right. I love that enthusiasm for it. I completely agree. Science and tradition. We are living not necessarily in a traditional world. I live in California. We're not necessarily wild harvesting or going to supermarkets. You know what I mean? We're living in this modern world, this modern science-based world. Why not capitalize on the science we have to date and also look at tradition and that full spectrum approach? combining those. It's just where the magic is, I find.
Yes, I think a balance of both. It's like yin and yang of the ginseng world. Right? You have to have an equilibrium of cooling and warming, and for the body to perform at its maximum. I truly believe that with herbs. And then to take it another notch, I know that RFI Ingredients is launching a time-release delivery system through Aventus Innovations, and they are only focusing on ingredients that have they have degradation in the stomach. So they get degraded in the stomachs, and what happens is they don't get digested into the lower intestine, right? Because you have most of it already degraded. And you just said berberine. A good example is berberine, right? And so ingredients have a short half-life. This is where I want to focus and clean up the industry, because it just seems nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about how we can perform at a higher, create new formulations with existing products that they currently have to help the health of the consumer, to be able to improve the delivery over time, over a 6 to 8 hour period. I remember years ago when I first started, Solgar came out with time release herbs, and that might be at the time you were flipping burgers, or I'm not sure.
Right.
Right, but they didn't have the advanced analytical tools, or the dissolution testing, or the patented technologies that we have today. So I'm so excited about the future of medicine, herbs. I love our food as medicine. I just think there's so much out there we don't know, Julie, and I'm so glad to get on just to get on the train with you as we ride through the mountains of this, the botanical hills, and to take a journey together.
Literally, we've been doing this for decades, and we've seen so many changes in our time here in the natural products industry, challenging changes and changes we don't like perhaps, but also, like you're saying, this innovation that continues to emerge. I love this RFI coming out, or looking at a delayed release botanical.
Yeah, I want you to explore, with the Tricia Devines and out there at RFI and their team out there on what they've discovered. I know that they're going to be launching this very soon, and I've seen 40 ingredients already under dissolution testing that show that they need to be released over time for protection of the gastric stomach acids. And
makes total sense.
Yeah, so but beyond that, that's another discussion. I really want to talk more about you. I want to talk, and I know that I know you're humble and you're kind, and you're so wanting to get back to others in need, right? But I want to talk about you a little bit, about where you were born and your little bit of background of your family. Could you share that with us?
Yes, sir. I was born gratefully in Los Angeles. Don't throw tomatoes at me, please. I know it doesn't always have the best reputation, but I grew up in Los Angeles in the 70s and 80s. Gratefully before the internet, where we could just get on our bikes and roam the neighborhoods, the mall. It was a fantastic time to live and grow up in Los Angeles. And I must say that foundation of growing up in an urban setting like Los Angeles, it exposed me to a lot of things, some nefarious and some spectacularly resplendent. But ultimately, I had the world at my fingertips growing up in Los Angeles. I could go to Olvera Street and experience feeling like I'm in Mexico. I could go to Koreatown. I can go to Venice, Silver Lake, Hollywood. The world was at my fingertips, so I'm a natural explorer, and I explored all the world. It was fantastic. I had a lot of freedom growing up. I had a very enterprising, sassy mom who's still as sassy as ever in her mid to late 80s. She won't divulge at this point. Yay, Mom is right. God willing,
she's still kicking my butt. All right.
Hello, right? As they should. They get whatever they want, our mothers. So
yes. lessons.
Yeah, really, just so fortunate to have the parents I had and the setting I was growing up in. My parents, my dad being a very sensitive, artistic, guitar-playing artist who was very compassionate, very kind, treated everybody with respect, no matter what lot your life had given you. So incredible example of kindness and artistry. And he'd listen to flamenco guitar and then jazz. So I love that influence of my father. And then the influence of my mother, sassy Sandra, she was very entrepreneurial. She kept the ship right, focused, definitely, you know, I don't know, I love my mom. She kept us in line as best she could, but I was very independent. I'm sorry?
Yeah. She was your anchor.
She was our anchor, definitely. And fortunately, she trusted that her children would make the right decision as we explored the world, even at a young age. So I did have a lot of freedoms, good or bad, but I did have a lot of freedom. So had a lot of fun growing up and appreciate this background that I had in Los Angeles. It was spectacular. I moved out, believe me. I knew I was going to move out. It was a concrete jungle. Yeah, a concrete jungle. The homelessness was already burgeoning at that point, even in the 70s and 80s. I wanted nature. I made my way up to the San Francisco Bay Area and then discovered this little town called Grass Valley. I loved the name. I'm an herbalist. I thought, let me check this out. I eventually moved up here to a little town called Nevada City, right next door to Grass Valley, and have my rural setting with a progressive twist, it being in California, and a direct trajectory east from San Francisco. So it's a perfect blend, rural and yet progressive for me.
Well, I'm glad you found your home, right? I'm glad you found your heart and your passion of what you're doing today as an herbalist. Right, but I do want to say thank you to your mom and dad for instilling upon the value system to help you get to where you are today. I always think that a good anchor in the family, giving you the freedom that you need to make your own decisions, good or bad, right? They're giving you the opportunity to grow and learn and discover yourself. And
so grateful.
And that's a beautiful gift.
Yes, incredible gift. And stability. We grew up in the same house all the years of our youth. They did not move away to Las Vegas, of all places, until later in life. And just that stability and them being together for 65 years. So very, very grateful for my parents and my upbringing and my siblings. We are definitely a team. I have an older sister who's my hero, and I have a younger brother who I adore. My sister being a big influence in my life, I always wanted to be like my big sister, Laura Lynn Dennis Jessup. She's a superstar and became a nurse, 25 years on the floor in critical care. In fact, she was the nurse, the charge nurse when the Las Vegas massacre occurred at that hotel, if you recall.
Yeah.
Those suffering were brought to her hospital, the closest to the Strip, and she was the charge nurse in critical care in charge of. Oh God, you're not kidding! Oh my God, she is an angel. Yeah,
she was she was called upon at that point in time.
Yeah.
Everything that she learned and worked for at that point in time was now on the table. And a shout out to all the nurses and doctors out there, all the caregivers out there in those hospitals, all the volunteers in those hospitals.
Amen.
Thank you for the work that you do. Right. Now, would I say that your mom and your dad, the roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on the table, that they were not just your anchor, but they were your solid rock of foundation of being able to give you the confidence and the choices that you made?
Mm-hmm. Yes. My mom always said, if there's something you want to do, go do it. If it doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to be. Something better is in store. You just go do it. Go live your life. Go travel the world. I started traveling at a young age, which is why I had 2 jobs at the age of 15. I couldn't wait to get on the road. And unbeknownst to me, my mom, of course, every time I hit the road and went solo to Morocco or India or wherever I was going, she was back home praying to God that I wouldn't make it back. But she let me go, you know. She let me go, and she trusted I would make the right decisions. Yeah. You know, in hindsight, there's folly in youth, and I didn't always make the right decisions, but I made it through.
Yes.
But grateful that I had parents that supported these dreams of a wild, different life and lifestyle than many people that I wanted to pursue.
Hey, I look at my mom always says, you know, when you're, you know, like the mother bird leaves the nest and leaves the babies behind in the nest, and those babies have to fly out on their own. Mm-hmm. And go out there. And I looked at me being the middle. I'm sure, you know, what you just mentioned, you're probably the middle child too.
Yes.
And you know, I had a brother to look up to and a sister also to look up to, and I was sort of in the middle here of trying to find my way. And but they were inspirational. You know, my brother and sister. And, you know, we always sort of leaned on each other, and we brought back the value system that our parents taught us, you know, and being kind to others, treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Don't give expecting things in return, give from your heart, right? And how you do one thing is how you do everything. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many, you know, to be thankful for what you have, not what you don't have. Always have gratitude.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, and that was the foundation, you know, the value system. When I look back, I think our parents did the best they could, right, to keep us out of trouble. But they never stopped worrying, did they?
No. You know, I don't have kids, but I imagine if I did, then I would be worrying, and I'd be a helicopter mom for sure, especially these days. I'd definitely be a helicopter mom. But I'm grateful that I was given that freedom to explore and make my own mistakes. Definitely. I worry about my nieces and nephews. I don't even need to have kids to worry. I have nieces and nephews that I worry about and keep in my prayers daily, that I adore all of them. So, yeah.
Did you ever meet your grandparents?
I did. Oh, so precious, so precious. I have 4 different grandparents, and I love them all. I must say that I grew up with the kindness of my dad's grandparents, and I also grew up with Grandma Sal. Can I just take a moment to talk about Grandma Sal? Because I feel her all the time. Although we were not close, Grandma Sally and she was larger than life, boy. Mm-hmm. She was ominous in a way. She was a large woman and larger than life and pursued these grandiose dreams. She actually was one of the first to open up a store right off the Las Vegas Strip, back when Las Vegas was being formed. And she had a store. She started to grow her business. She wanted to get into the garbage business. She was milling about with the mafia at that time, bringing my mom with her at times to sit at the big tables. And so she mentioned that she's going to be expanding into the garbage business, garbage truck business, which is a classic mafia, you know, Italian mafia business. And they ran her out of town. Right? Exactly. But they ran her out of town. So my Grandma Sal really inspired me, another one like my mom, to become an entrepreneur and to pursue a different kind of life, one that's not necessarily considered your typical life or lifestyle. She was wild. She was opening businesses. She was buying big buildings downtown and then losing them. So Grandma Sal, you know, like I said, I wasn't close to her, but she definitely influenced me in many, many ways. My grandmas and my grandparents. The other grandparents, just very sweet, very tender, very loving. So had the best of all these worlds.
Congratulations to your grandmother, because I always think that you fail if you don't try.
Yeah.
If you try and fail, at least you tried to succeed. I'd rather try and succeed than to not try at all.
Yeah.
And
what's that sports saying? There's a sports saying, you miss all the shots you don't take.
Yes.
Something like
that. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's what you do take that people remember. Same with Babe Ruth, you know, hitting all those home runs. He struck out more times than any baseball player, but people don't remember that. They just remember, right?
I did not know that. I love baseball. Yes.
Right? Yeah, but you know what I think about growing up? Did your mom and dad and grandparents have a lot of friends?
You know, not necessarily. Our friends were our family. We had a lot of family in Los Angeles and still do. Cousins, aunts, uncles, double cousins probably. Just a huge extended family. So when there were get-togethers, it was often family. Yeah. Now we're all over the country, so we don't get together like that, unfortunately. I'd be in their faces all the time if they lived up in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But we still stay in contact. I love my cousins. We're still in contact. But my parents didn't necessarily have a lot of friends, but they had a lot of family, like I say, that we would spend time with.
Yeah, I look at our natural product industry, and for those who are listening to our interview, like, you know, I look at our industry as our family. Like I have no children either, but I look at, you know, the brothers and sisters. I look at, you know, aunts and uncles out there, you know, people I can learn and grow from, you know, people that are full of wisdom and experience. And I just feel like I'm part of their family, even though it's an industry family thing, right? That's what I'm looking at. And I've made so many good friends, or, you know, and one thing my parents taught me, going back to that, my dad always said before he had passed away, and he passed away at such an early age at 60, and, you know, 50, 60 at that time, and, you know, it's 30 years ago this year. And so, you know, he just said, Stephen, remember, you know, they're your friends, all right? You know, you look at them in life. You can count them on one hand by the time you're gone in this world. And I say, why do you? It was because the true friends are the treasures in your heart, right? They're not. It's not the treasures in your bank account. And you look at friends today, right? And I, you know, to me, there's different values of friends, like or you know, or different definitions. You know, when somebody says, "I love you," all right? Well, what's that mean? All right, I love pizza, but I don't eat it every day, right? You know, right? You're my friend. Well, okay, are you going to be there in time of need? Are you going to be there when I'm down and out and I need help and I have to dust myself up? Are you going to help pick me up? That's a true friend, right?
True. And I could tell you this, Stephen, you are much admired and respected and loved in this natural products family. So, yes, you have those people. Obviously, I'm sure you know that. But this is what I see of the community around you.
I just want to be like you, Julie, leaving a legacy behind of knowing that I've done the best I can to raise the bar of integrity, humility, you know, kindness, being a better person. And I know that I can only become a better person, you know, by being around people that I can improve upon and have healthier relationships with. I'm always out there wanting to encourage and support others because I see so much potential in everybody out there. And all they need is to be, you know, encouraged, right? And directed, you know. And I want people, like you just said, I want people to feel valued out there, and not let corporations get the best of them. Not to look at these people as a dollar sign. And what have you done for me, you know, today? You know, and I want them to look at you as, I need a person like this. This person's inspirational. You know, it's captivating. You know, it's self-motivating. You know, it's like, you know, energy is full of, you know, is there to, you know, to help encourage and motivate others. You know, and I think that's so important, and I think that's what you bring, even to the women in nutraceuticals group. They need you, and you need them.
Yeah. You are so sweet. You know, I love people. I love my community. I don't need to know somebody to know they're my friend. I assume friendship first, and then if they prove me, if they prove themselves not my friend, then it's over. But everybody's my friend in this world, and I see potential like you in everybody. Everybody's so resplendent, and if they could see that in themselves, it's such a gift to help bring that out in people in the community. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to look for the good in everybody. I do, because some people just take longer to find that, but I believe in good. I believe that we're put on this earth to do good, right? And and I want to help others. If they're drifting, I want to help them, right? If I'm a phone call away, I'm there for them, right? Not in good times, but difficult times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That shows, Stephen. It definitely shows in how you move in this world. And you did mention women in nutraceuticals. I love being part of that group. It's interesting how, after all these years in this industry, it was when I hooked up with women in nutraceuticals and started working for them and supporting their communication efforts that I realized how potent a network can be. Mm-hmm. The people I come across in that organization and women in nutraceuticals are all supporting one another and one another's growth and career goals and evolution. So I've never seen it so potent, and it really made me realize how important the network is, the family network, the community network, the business network. They all can uplift and support our efforts. So women in nutraceuticals really brought that to the fore for me. Yeah. And I'm really grateful to have it was Heather Granado, who I know you know. I saw a post that she posted on LinkedIn. I'm all over all the social media, of course, because I promote myself and my business. And Heather Granado had a LinkedIn post saying we're women in nutraceuticals. She's the president of the board. Women in nutraceuticals, we're looking for a digital media coordinator. Okay, I threw my name into the hat. I talked to Heather, and she said, well, what if you can't figure something out? How do you handle that situation? And you know what? I've known Heather a long time, so I did feel a little bit more free and loose with my verbiage. And I said, Heather, you figure, I use the SH word, you figure stuff out. We've been doing this long enough. We know how to. She's like, you got the job. So I'm grateful to be with them, and also incredibly grateful to be working with the American Botanical Council. I've worked with them on and off for about 10 years, and we'll be starting a new position with them. I have not announced it yet, so I'm not going to make that announcement here, but I start a new position with them next week, again, supporting their communication efforts. And again, the network and the family and the support I find within my client base in the natural products industry, being a consultant, contractor, fractional worker, I have clients and I adore them, and we do become like family and support one another through times thick and thin. This is how we operate in this natural products industry, and I just love it.
No, ABC is really one of my favorites. Go-to associations out there. Bet Mark Blumenthal, the Moses of our industry.
Please.
And Steph Gaffner, and out there to mention on the team over there. But I am worried about the future of ABC. That's one concern I have, which is one of those associations that I want to see survive. And I can tell you, Julie, maybe I'm a visionary and I'm a pioneer in a lot of things, but just think about this. Could you, once you're in there, move up that ladder and be the next executive director down the road for American Botanical Council?
Stephen, you mentioned Mark Blumenthal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Yeah. I hear you. And we recently just saw some transitions. United Natural Products, UNPA, with Lauren Israelson stepping down and dissolving the organization. And then with APA, the American Herbal Products Association, they were able, after the untimely death of co-founder Michael McGuffin, they have been able to carry on. Would I move up that? Mark Blumenthal is going to be very difficult to replace.
No, of course.
He is a charismatic leader, adored. So I can't even, Stephen, that's a difficult question.
But, Julie, I'm just going to say this much. I believe in you that much, okay? All right? That, because the industry needs more women in leadership roles, right? And I believe in the ABC, and I truly believe the next generations to follow. I want ABC to succeed, all right? And I think anybody who is putting out a product that's a botanical needs to support ABC, right? And the work that they've accomplished. Mark Blumenthal and the rest of the team over there, and all these other leaders that I've interviewed. We all need to be recognizing them as Hall of Fame champions in the natural product industry. Right? We need to have our own board on the wall of these champions to recognize, so these younger generations understand why they have a job today.
True. And that is so true.
Yeah. The road that we pay for them to walk down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here because of other leaders that are not with us today. It's their hard work and efforts why I'm talking to you today, Julie. I recognize that, and I help those. That's why we do this show at the beginning. I explained all this before. Our heart comes first in gratitude for those who are not with us today. Right? And so
knowing that history, like you say, the youth, I am too concerned, Stephen. It is true. In this TikTok world, and granted I'm on TikTok, but in this TikTok world and short bites and shorter bites, that attention span to learn this history of where we come from in natural products and the backs that have helped us rise. It's so important. It's so important to the future of our industry and natural products.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like we need a Veterans Day just to recognize, the natural product industry.
I love that. I do love that. At the same time, can I just also comment that I am seeing a renaissance with AI, this land of AI that we're living in. I am already seeing a fatigue regarding AI content, AI images, and I am seeing the younger people actually embracing authenticity. They're already rejecting a lot of these messages that we're getting just AI generated. They want to see authenticity. They want to see more back to the land. They want to see herbs in the garden and making their own teas. I'm seeing a resurgence of this. So perhaps we're going to have that sort of energy that we had in the 70s and 80s around natural products. That could happen again.
Well, Julie, that Cran Man's on a mission here. And I would love nothing more. My pledge is to make America great again with cranberry. And I would love to see you in the cranberry box with me in Wisconsin. Right? John Beninger. And as we take, I think it's supply side east or supply side global into Wisconsin next year. Right? And did you know that Wisconsin is the largest growing state in the world of cranberry?
No, I did not. Wisconsin in the world?
In the world.
Wow, that is incredible.
My job today is to put Wisconsin and American growers on the map. My job
love
today
that.
is to help growers for the next generations to follow and protect those growers in the world of cranberry.
Critical work, and I am obviously I'm a woman, I'm a huge cranberry fan.
Yeah.
So,
made
bravo.
in America. All right, let's make Cran America great again. That's what I want to do now. all right? And I've been given that mission, that opportunity, right, to go out there, and my first allegiance is to the growers, because without them, we don't have food on the table, right, in the cranberry world.
Bottom line. Yeah.
We don't, right? And I want to keep them in business, and that's why ABC and the world of adulteration, protection of the growers here in America is so important. I'm encouraging every manufacturer of dietary supplement, natural product, and beverage industry to support America.
Yes.
Right? I want us to look at our own backyard.
Oh.
Right? And, I believe in women's pharmaceuticals and looking after our own backyard. Right? And with all the people that need help out there. Right? Guidance and advice. Right?
So
and
true.
You've done, and you're a leader in this industry, and I'm so glad you're involved in and working with the other leaders of Heather, of Heather Granato and Karen Todd, and Gina Benninger, and Karen Howard, and there's so many women of influence that voices need to be heard out there. So
that's so. I really appreciate that. I do feel like it's time, once again, for us to share our thoughts, our voices, leadership. And it's been a long time coming. It's still a challenge. And also, the different genders operate differently. And I believe we're coming to a place where we can have more compassion in the workplace, which is typically considered a feminine quality. We don't have to be cutthroat. We can support and uplift one another in business. So we can rise together. And I do believe that in part that's considered a more feminine way of approaching business. Cooperation, compassion, kindness. I don't want to separate the genders in that way necessarily, because we all know kind and compassionate men and women, but these are typically considered feminine qualities, and I believe business is ready for more of those qualities.
Well, I always say kindness is not weakness, and it's really actions of being authentic. And when you're and being authentic really is true to yourself and sticking to your word. And for the men out there, yes, we need to unify together, work with women out there in the natural product industry, all right? But understand, win is not just women in nutraceuticals; it's women. So it's also women and men in nutraceuticals. So the guys out there, support women in nutraceuticals. Go out there. All right, and guide them and help them. We're all in this boat together. All great tides lift, right? And
yes.
And I truly believe that. So I want to break for a commercial here, Peter, and then we're going to come back, if that's okay with Julie. I want to talk about leadership and mentorship. Is that okay, Julie?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, terrific.
Perfect.
Take it away, Peter.
We'll take our Planet Cranberry commercial.
You've been listening to the KISC My Health Radio show on Building Fortunes Radio and the Humongous Radio Network. This KISC My Health Radio show is also available on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, as well as dozens of other platforms connected to the Internet. If you are interested in the world's best cranberry product line, you will want to get your products from Captain Cran Man himself, Stephen Lukawski, from Planet Cranberry on planetcranberry.com. The website will be online before the end of the summer in 2026. Start your ordering and your inquiring about Planet Cranberry now by contacting Stephen on LinkedIn or by phone or text. The King of Cranberries, Stephen Lukawski, has always been your best source of products and information. So now it's time to get your products from Planet Cranberry directly. With Planet Cranberry and Stephen Lukawski, you can make your world a better place and help others do the same. Now, back to our KISC My Health Radio show. Take it away, Peter.
And we are back. Peter Mingils here. Go ahead, Stephen. Let's continue.
And Peter, do you have any questions this time you want to step in and ask before we go?
No, I'm fascinated with the story. I'm fascinated with Julie's story. She's got a great background, great story. Maybe in the after hours. We'll talk about her little comment when her mom handled them the best they could. I'd like to hear a little bit more about those stories. But Julie, we're good.
Very cool. Yeah. So, Peter, thanks for the commercial there. I go back to this Planet Cranberry thing. Julie, is the website is a resource center, right, for people to gather information, to connect with all the interviews that I have done on KISC My Health. They will go over to Planet Cranberry also, and they can hear it there, right? And the champions, the leaders, the voices, I want their voices to go spread out as much as possible. And that includes YouTube, right? Okay. And I want people to know, right, that, if they're looking, cranberry for me is like every day, every one, right? And then you take these superhero ingredients and then you add to the cranberry. So Urox, for example, for bladder control, I didn't know how costly that is. And to the countries out there, I heard about it, what it's costing the country in Australia, right? And you're talking, almost $1 billion. You imagine what it's costing, in America, bladder control issues. We're talking loss of work days, and things that people don't want to talk about, right? And so I want to bring in ingredients that really never get to the store for the consumers to be educated on. I want them to come to a site where they can, and I want them to reach out to advisors like yourself, where they can click on Julie Dennis and ask a question for Julie, right? And be able for Julie to be able to talk about, right, anything they need to talk about, So this is where I'm going with Planet Cranberry in terms of just not selling products, but being an educational resource center for people.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Is beautiful. You're like a spider weaving a web, bringing us all together and educating and uplifting and creating a healthier world. I really appreciate the work you do.
Thanks. And then when they click on Julie Dennis, they're going to go right to your LinkedIn profile or right to your website. They're going to see who you are and what you accomplished and why they trust you. It's all about trust and credibility here, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes.
So, and trust and credibility are so important when it comes to leadership. And leadership to me, I've always asked, people I've interviewed, what qualities define, a truly great leader?
That is a great question that leaders should be asking themselves all the time as we evolve as leaders. I read a book when I first started my career, in the 80s, 90s in this industry. I read a book called The Leadership Skills of Attila the Hun. And it broke down how Attila the Hun from Mongolia was able to bring together these troops and people from all over the region for a common cause, to work together to focus on a singular goal. How was Attila the Hun able to do that? So this is what the book was about, and it really boiled down to three things. One, you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and be on the front lines. There's no way around that. No, leaders don't always want to be rolling up their sleeves and being on the front lines, but a good leader would do that when and where needed. Mm-hmm. Also, a good leader would learn how to choose people wisely and delegate. A good leader can't do it all. There's no way. You know that. Peter knows that. We know it. We can't do it all. We need to choose people, choose the right people, and then delegate to them and trust that they're going to carry on your mission. And thirdly, you got to compensate. Not only compensate well, and compensate on time. Don't be late. So it really, those three simple channels of being a good leader, being willing to be on the front lines with your staff, with your people, and to compensate and to delegate. It's somewhat that simple. And I'd like to add also to be kind and compassionate and be able to listen and to know when to pull the plug when the plug needs to be pulled.
Yeah, the empathy side of things.
Yeah.
We never know what's going on in a person's mind when they come to work, what problems they have at home, what's going on in that world of theirs, right? And, it's so important to that compassion and empathy, right?
Oh,
It's not about the dollar all the time for these leaders. I know they're pressured, from above, right? And but that authoritarian style of leadership is not working anymore.
Nope.
And I find that the young generations have to have a different leader today than they used to before COVID.
Pre and post-COVID, it is a different world post-COVID. It seemed to have accelerated a lot of different things that were ready to pop off and now are popping off. From wars to politics, et cetera, et cetera. We all know the world we're living in. So has leadership changed? Yes, leadership has changed. I think we're in a push-pull right now with one type of old-school leadership that is a strong-arm, unkind sort of leadership, and emerging leadership that is kinder and more compassionate and willing to listen and be a human being within even a corporate setting. So, yeah, there seems to be a bit of a push-pull right now, and we'll find our equilibrium. But at the moment, it's a little topsy-turvy.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
For some, I question integrity, authenticity, is really being challenged right now in the world that we live in. We know that, given, without mentioning any politics here on this show, but a contract is no longer a contract anymore, it seems. And, a handshake is no longer a handshake anymore, it seems. Right? And it just means that you can renegotiate now. And we've seen that with, other countries, Mexico, Canada, right? That as far as I'm concerned, right, I'm all about old school, and I'm also about old romance too, all right? And yeah, absolutely. The car door still opens. And
I love that.
Yeah, it's a chivalry, right? Pulling out the seat before she sits, standing up when she gets up, right?
Precious.
Yeah. But the thing is why can't we just treat people as humans first? Like our own children. Why do we have to treat people like dollar signs?
Yeah.
Right?
It's so simple. It's so simple.
And
but why is it so difficult for some? I don't know. The lid has been popped on decorum. Things have been thrown out the window. I too am old school. I'm of that generation, and feel like we really need to continue setting that example. We don't have a choice. This is how we are and how we operate. But setting that example.
Julie, gives you a platform to tell people how you feel, all right, and why you're different, and why you are a North Star is because you've earned that right to be that North Star. And that younger people who are coming into this business need to really look for a mentor and to guide them and not have all the answers because they're coming into this industry, think they know it all. They need to be searching for the answers, asking the questions. And so
Indeed.
When we come, so leadership is also, I think, getting involved in mentorship. I think a good leader also provides mentorship to others. And maybe you want to expand on that.
That's so interesting. Good leader provides mentorship. I, of course, have had mentors, and some of them didn't know they were my mentors, and maybe one or two of them, it was a little bit formal. But I believe that just my actions through time and being in this industry for decades and pursuing my passion of health and educating people on the benefits of botanicals, I feel just by doing that, I may be a mentor for some who see my career trajectory and say, if she did this, I could do this. I'm going to do this also. So although nobody's come up to me and said, would you be my, mentee or mentor, I should say, would you be my mentor? I do believe just my career trajectory has perhaps inspired those just entering to pursue their own passions within this industry. I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah. I truly believe that we have, as leaders, we have to go out there and let people know our door is open, all right, for people who need help, and that need words of encouragement and support. Just because I'm busy and people see me on social media doesn't mean my heart's not open to help others. And Julie, we need to get our word out there, especially in women in nutraceuticals, and to invite other women, all right, to know that it's not a club of who's who, all right. It's a club of helping you grow, all right, and unleash the potential in all of you, and because that's our future, right? And so I look at our leadership today, not. It's not entitlement just because you have a title given to you, right? You've been given an opportunity to change the lives and have a positive impact on somebody. Because
that's
you
so
can
interesting.
Sorry. You can make or break a person on what you say to them, how you say it to them. And I think to me, I think leaders today, whether you're streetwise leader and you've learned from the streets, or whether you come from the academic world, I think you never stop learning on how to be a father figure in the business community, how to be a friend, how to be a support system for those in need. I think it takes on more than just spreadsheets and numbers today. With the younger generation.
Oh, that is so true. I believe the younger generation wants more than just spreadsheets. I think they're demanding it. Yeah, and I applaud them for that. We do need spreadsheets. I mean, if you're running a business, it should be profitable, and you want to make it profitable to survive and sustain. But the learning never stops. Yeah, you mentioned the learning never stops. The balance.
Younger generations maybe come in and have some entitlement and lack of accountability. We're always wanting to blame the other person. All right. I'm not saying that's all the case, but I see it and I experience it. All right. And I don't want to be pressured, on deadlines. And so it's really, it's how we. I don't know. Is the human resource book was thrown out during COVID? Has the leadership?
I see. Right. Well, that is so true. I mean, businesses shut down and everybody was at home beyond just the remote worker. And so everybody got used to that, working from home in their pajamas, whatever it was. And, there is that sense of entitlement. It is so frustrating, I got to say. I mean, I grew up with parents who were from the greatest generation in their era of just hard work, and you worked hard, and you did what you had to do.
Well, hard work also, you can always travel east looking for a sunset and never find it. So working hard, traveling east, you'll never see that sunset. Because the sunset's in the west, so there's working hard in a positive way, right? As long as you're going in the right direction. And so how important is the word in leadership success today, the word pivot to you?
Pivot. Stephen, it's critical. It is critical to be able to pivot, and I'm so grateful that I have been able to do that in my career. Everything's changing so fast all the time. So if we stay stuck in a definition of who we are or have been, we're going to be left behind. And although I am at this age that I'm at, I want to continue to pivot. If a new technology comes prevalent, I want to embrace that and move forward and pivot where needed. I think it's critically important to be nimble on one's feet, to go with the changes and see those changes and potential challenges as opportunities to learn something new or do something new or try a new trajectory. Pivoting, I think, is critically important these days, and it's good for health that we don't get stuck also.
Yeah, it's never too late to turn back. It's never too late to go in a different direction. right?
That is
and
true.
especially for those young entrepreneurs like your grandmother wanting to start a business, you don't need to turn to the waste of mafia business sector. All right.
Nope.
But no, I think that you have to change direction, and you have to be flexible, and you can't be stubborn. If something's not working, don't try to force it to work. And
so true.
Like for me, I don't know anything about products. I've been in the B2B space my whole life. I would never get involved in me personally developing products and building a brand and, on a personal level of reselling products under my own expertise, because that's not my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You bring that to a person who does that every day. It's really knowing your garden. We had Mike Bush on, what a great interview that was, like this one is. And, and Mike Bush, I think has a book up there, guardrailing. And I think, for businesses. And I think it's the same thing with ourselves, our personal life, that Julie, it's really putting up the guardrails of your value system. And, which your morals and your ethics. Right.
The driving force. These are the drivers, hopefully, of a career and a life. So we don't leave those at the door when we sit down to our office. I cannot do that. I have to, what the Buddhists would call, pursue right livelihood, something that will be a benefit during my lifetime to those around me, the world around me, the environment, and a legacy of positivity that we leave behind. Yeah. It's critical.
Yeah. From the days of flipping burgers at Burger King. I know that was a proud moment in your life at that point.
Please, I was at the register. Please, I was at the register.
What accomplishments, are you the most proudest of your career up to now?
Wow, in my career, perseverance, dedication, not losing my moral compass, staying focused on the direction I wanted to go, despite the naysayers along the way, not listening to them, or hopefully not allowing their voices to lodge in my body and brain. But my perseverance, my dedication, my ability to forge ahead despite the odds. I appreciate that about myself, I must admit. I'm pretty strong-willed. I guess that boils down to being strong-willed.
Yeah. Well, every successful career like yours has setbacks. What has been one of your biggest professional challenges?
Well, there have been many. I look at challenges as opportunities to learn, grow, pivot, for example. I had a difficult time at one point in my consultancy where I needed to puzzle together some normal work, as it were. I needed to get a job to fill in the gaps of my income at that time. So I found myself working at a wonderful local solar company, but really questioning my life. I was sitting there thinking, what am I doing here? I have this career that I've dedicated so many years to, and all of a sudden I find myself working at a solar company, filling out paperwork for solar panels. And literally at one point I'm on a conference call and I had tears streaming down my face. And I tried to play it off as if I had allergies. But it was a low point. And then, of course, things turned around. It obviously wasn't the right match for me, and my client base built up again. So that was a low point when I had to do what I had to do to cover my overhead. But at the same time, question, how did I end up here applying for solar panels for this person in the community? So it was a very strange time. But I made it through despite the tears and forged ahead. I mean, this is just life. Challenges come up. They can bring us down and to our knees, but how we respond from there is the crossroads. Will make the difference for the rest of our lives, perhaps.
Yeah, So having a strong state of mind of and being resilient, like your mother that you described at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Resiliency, did that come into play here in that decision making?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That job.
Yes, definitely. Resilient. I had to become resilient at a young age. By 15, 16 years old, I was living outside of the house, paying rent. I would say more by 16, 17, I'm outside of the house paying rent, living my life as a teenager, trying to figure things out. So I had to be resilient. I had to make money. I had to do what I had to do, Burger King, whatever it was, the health food store, to live my life. I think resiliency is a quality that hopefully we won't lose through the generations. I think it has made me a stronger person, obviously, and more willing to continue taking risks where calculated and where I want to proceed, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Resiliency will teach us we'll be fine. We're going to make it through, and we'll continue after this episode of whatever's happening.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. What is something about Julie Dennis that most people don't know?
Stephen, they shouldn't know. If they don't know by now, my life is kind of an open book except for certain chapters. Having grown up in LA, I was working at the Rainbow Bar and Grill on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood as a teenager, as a DJ at this rock and roll, infamous, famous rock and roll club on Sunset Boulevard, the Rainbow, the Bow, as we used to call it. So I'm a teenager working as a disc jockey, spinning the records. And, wow, I'm so grateful I had my head on my shoulders. A lot of people didn't make it through that era. No, seriously, a lot of people didn't make it through that era. I saw what I saw, and it was a very crazy time to be living life in Hollywood and living in Hollywood and being a DJ. Like I say, thankfully I had my head on my shoulders. I didn't get caught up in drugs or alcohol. It was a grand experiment. I was asked to be this DJ at this rock and roll club, and I thought, why not do this too? Going to college and DJing at night. So, there's a lot of things people don't know about me, and I'm writing a book about it, basically what not to do if you're traveling the world, learn by my mistakes. And one of those chapters will be about my time in Hollywood, but I'm not ready to divulge some of those stories. So
I have Planet Cranberry. You've got Planet Hollywood, all right?
Yes. What a life. So grateful to have had these many adventures and opportunities. Yes.
Well, just in closing, maybe you can just let our audience know hobbies and interests that you have.
I love nature. I love my husband, who I haven't mentioned yet, the sweetest man in the world, old school like you, Stephen, opens doors and does all the gentlemanly things that I adore. And gardening, I love being out in nature. It really does reestablish my foundation when I could spend time in nature. I do live in nature up in the Sierra Mountains and spend a lot of time outside. And I find that world a lot more real than a lot of the other worlds I find myself in. Nature just soothes my soul. So that is one of my hobbies in life, is to recalibrate in the natural world.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I too have a garden, and I always say the good Lord brought that garden to me, and it's my anchor, right? Because I see through the plants, I hear through the voices of the birds and the trees. It's solitude, serenity. It's an escape. It protects me from from the corruption or the disappointments of people in business world. Because, when you're kind and you follow your heart and you lead with your heart, sometimes you don't want to lose the good that you think of others. And so your garden, you put your hands in the soil and you nurture that plant and you watch it grow. It's just part of our spiritual growth. And I feel that connection. And so So I truly believe that our hobbies and interests sometimes ground us, right, and save us from the business world of the ups and downs and daily challenges every day, so we don't lose ourselves.
Yes. And so important as we climb the ladder and pursue our careers to take those times away from it and do our hobbies and do what soothes our soul and grounds us. A lot of times, especially in younger people, and I did this myself, just go without replenishing the coffers. Yeah. So the older I get, the more I realize how critical to work it is even that I take that time out.
Thank you for sharing it. And so finally, Julie, when people look back on your career many years from now, because I know your best years are still ahead of you, what legacy do you hope you have left for the natural product industry and for future generations?
For future generations, I hope I leave the world a healthier place. I hope I leave people healthier and the world healthier. That is my goal in my life and in my career. So that is my dream, that I uplift and support the health and well-being of the world I live in, the people I live in, and the environment.
And turning the clock back to your younger years, say in your early 20s, is there anything that you would advise your younger self today?
Yes, we don't know then what we know now, and I would try to instill in the younger me that you're okay, you're wonderful, you're a resplendent being. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You can be yourself, you could be authentic, you could show up as you are, and people who love you will love you, and those that don't will fall away. It's all okay. You're going to be okay. Just forge ahead. Follow your dreams.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful, and I think I look back and I just say to myself, be ambitious, right? Live life full of curiosity. I don't think you really live until you step out of your comfort zone. What do you think about that?
I love stepping out of my comfort zone. I really do. One of my favorite moments in life was being in the middle of the Atlas Mountains of Morocco with one travel friend and just not knowing the language, not knowing where I was, in fact, waiting for some bus to take us to some village. Everything was unknown. And so I thrive in those cases. I love stretching myself in those ways. So I think stepping into the unknown is exciting. Scary, but exciting, and typically always triumphant once done and in hindsight. So I say go for it. Expand, grow, learn, try something new, try something that's challenging for you. You just go for it. Why not? We're going to make it through this. We got this. I hope. Uh-oh. Did I get cut off?
No.
Oh, no.
I don't know. No, you're here.
No, Julie, you cut off. I'm just wiping the tears from my eyes because that was so heartfelt. Seriously.
Oh, you're so kind.
My heart. Right, with that.
Julie,
thank
Julie,
you.
is there an age appropriation to this comment? I think in the 20s may be okay, but in your 80s, you probably need to not be so adventurous if you're in your 80s.
Oh, I hope I am. I really hope I am,
really?
Much to the chagrin of my mother, who will be in heaven at that point. Yes, I really hope I am. It's a goal of mine to be on the back of a rickshaw in Cambodia on my way to Angkor Wat in my 80s in the middle of the jungle at 3 a.m. Yes, please.
Like I said, your best years are still ahead of you, Julie. I'm sorry if I had to grab a tissue. And I don't get emotional, but that was so heartfelt and touching. And I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way with that beautiful message. But I know we have to close now. I know it's like I can't the time goes by this interview was so authentic, so real. It was so full of life, right?
And it was a conversation. Yeah.
It was not an interview, conversation. And and to our listening audience, out there, I hope you were inspired by Julie's message and what you've learned today. And I want to thank you, all of you, for joining us today on KISC My Health Radio. It's a heartfelt thank you to our special guest, Julie Dennis, for sharing her incredible career journey, her wisdom, and her passion for helping others. Her story reminds us that success is not measured only by what we achieve, but the lives we touch, the people we inspire, and the legacy we leave behind. To our listeners around the world, thank you for being part of KISC My Health family. We hope today's conversation with Julie has inspired you to dream bigger, lead with purpose, embrace innovation, and make a positive difference in the lives of others. I also want to thank our valued sponsors, Pure Organics, Planet Cranberry, for making this not-for-profit educational possible. This program is not-for-profit, so your continued support allows us to bring meaningful conversations and trusted health education to audience around the globe. Until next time, remember that good health is one of life's greatest blessings. Continue learning, continue growing, and continue investing in yourself, because your health is your greatest wealth. This is Captain Cran Man Stephen Lukawski, your host with Peter Mingils, better known as Captain Cran Man in the industry, wishing you and your family good health, happiness, and success. Keep making a positive difference in the world, one healthy choice at a time. Until next time, we'll see you on KISC My Health Radio. Thanks again, Julie Dennis, for joining us.
My pleasure, my honor. Julie. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna call it a great radio show. Julie, want to have you come back, and then obviously we'll get all this stuff up on KISCMyHealth.com. KISC, KISC MyHealth.com. Thanks, everyone.
You've been listening to the KISC My Health Radio show on Building Fortunes Radio. Thanks for listening. This KISC My Health Radio show is brought to you by Stephen Lukawski. Stephen is known as the Cranberry King, universally known as Captain Cran Man. Stephen has over 30 years of experience working with manufacturers and marketers of dietary supplements and natural ingredients to make this world a healthier and a better place. You can check out Stephen Lukawski on LinkedIn and on the KISCMyHealth.com website. We are glad you listened in. Spread the word and check out previous KISC My Health Radio episodes. Bye for now. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. Now go make the world a better place.